Hey, good morning, man. I always love the opportunity to introduce my good friend, Dr. Kevin Schultz. This morning I've got a list of things I want to go through, but I'm going to cruise this really fast. So first of all, Dr. Kevin comes from Eleva, Wisconsin. If you've ever been to Schultz's Country Barn, raise your hand if you have. Quite a few. There we go. So that is his childhood home, born and raised down there. He has been a chiropractor and speaker for 17 years. I've probably known him for, I think, about 8 of those, and it's been awesome, the things that I've learned from him. I'll get into that in just a little bit. Dr. Kevin has been blessed to have the opportunity to adjust Team USA wrestlers at the last 2 Olympic Games. So that's a pretty neat opportunity. I think the thing I appreciate most about that is seeing some of the pictures of these huge arenas. He's adjusting the athletes, and then days later he's back in the office adjusting newborn babies. I just think that's an awesome contrast. Elite athlete, newborn baby having to be everything done for that child. He has a lovely wife, Sarah, and 2 adorable girls, Caprice and Ava, and another one on the way. So little baby going to be coming up shortly. The thing that I want to share with you this morning, what Kevin has done for me, has changed so many things, health-wise, spiritually, just been a great leader. One of the things that he oftentimes shares in the office is he wants to be a leader by example. And I feel like that he has done that for me. And in turn, what that's looked like is my family, and I don't have any kids, I've got a wife, and then my family all lives on the east side of the state, Green Bay, Appleton. And if you were to ask any one of them the impact that Dr. Kevin has made on my life, it's beyond simply just my healthy mindset and those kinds of things. But my family has actually changed the way they eat, the way they exercise, their mindsets, and all that really goes back to Dr. Kevin. And so I love to appreciate him for that. He's changed my life, he's changed my family's life. And in becoming the leader you are born to be, I've become a leader of my family. And I think that's the value of what I hope each one of you will get out of the message this morning. Before I turn it over to Dr. Kevin, I want to just share a quote with you. The quote is from B.J. Palmer, and it's, "You never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do today will affect the lives of millions tomorrow." And I feel like that is a reflection of what Dr. Kevin has done for me, because my family has changed, their lives.
In behavior. See, I can tell what you expect by what you do. That's why the Bible says, judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not the fruit that it wants, not the fruit that it talks about, not the fruit that it claims, but by what you are doing. See, what you do when you leave here, when the music stops, when the shouting dies down, your behavior, how you conduct yourself, writing your goals down. You must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
When something happens in your life, if all you're doing it for is a car and a house, that can stop you. But if you're doing it for your mom, for your siblings, for your family, for your community, nothing can stop you. You cannot be broken. When you have an intrinsic goal, when you're doing it because you value it, when you're doing it because it represents who you are, when it's internal, nothing can stop you. No mountain, no trial, no tribulation, nothing can stop you when it's deeper than just money and stuff.
Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten confident? Are you procrastinating? Are you invading your own greatness? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you challenging yourself? Are you experimenting? Are you learning something different? Your life an adventure, or is it boring?
If you think it's going to be easy, if you think you're just going to get that business started without a trial or forget about it. Don't even try to be successful. It's a wrap. It's not going to be easy. But I want you to feel that pain going through your body. As pain leaves your body, guess what's going to take its place? Success. All roads to success, you got to go through pain. When you travel down success, you got to go through the road of pain, baby. I told you before, if it was easy, everybody would do it. No pain, no gain. I can. I can't get through this difficulty right now, through this pain. I can't. You don't belong at the bottom, and it's time for you to get your butt from down there. It's time for you to stop being comfortable at the bottom. Get your butt up and get to where you're supposed to be. The Bible says he was in a deep pit, and he came to himself, and he went home. Get your butt up. You are a royal priesthood. Get where you belong. Do what you're supposed to do. Live like you're supposed to live. I guarantee you, if you can outlast pain, if you can get through that pain, if you can get through that discomfort, all right? If you can outlast that discomfort, on the other side of it is success.
So I don't know how many of you caught the phrase toward the end of that video, do what you're supposed to do, live how you're supposed to live. But I watched that video about 10 times last night in preparation for today, and never heard that one single time. And then for some reason this morning, something told me, hey, watch the video again, just see if there was something you're missing, something that inspires you. And that phrase just jumped out at me. Do what you're supposed to do, live how you're supposed to live. So if that is also impactful, meaningful for you, I encourage you, grab your, you may not know this yet, but you have note sheets in front of you, pens at the table, there should be plenty for everybody. But write that down. I would strongly encourage everybody to take some notes today. One thing that I will tell you is that I am not a motivational speaker. That's why I love videos like that. They pump me up. I love feeding my mind with motivational readings, motivational scriptures, motivational videos, but I am not a motivational speaker. My personality just doesn't fit that. So the goal for today is more of an inspirational goal, because I believe that motivation comes and goes, inspiration lasts forever. So the goal for today is to inspire you to make life change, lifestyle change, life change, and to give you action steps to be able to do that. So a little bit about my story before I get started here on some of those action steps. I grew up, like Nathan said, on a farm down in Eleva. It was a small 40-cow dairy farm. And when I graduated from high school in 1992, I was overall a very healthy individual. I was a four-sport athlete. I was 135 pounds. Don't bother looking me up on the internet for the athlete stuff, because I was not a good athlete. I just played four sports. But I was 135 pounds, I was fit, I was healthy, my parents taught me a lot of great things growing up on a farm, and then I went to college. And I don't know how many of you have had this experience, but a lot of times the college life, things fall apart with what you learned at home. And it did that for me 100-fold. Like, just my life, it was a downward spiral. When I look back, I don't even know how I made it through college, because all of a sudden, I no longer ate any of the foods that my parents taught me to eat, with fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. I don't think for 8 years I consumed any of those, unless they were on a Whopper. And so it was just not only processed food, fast food, but massive amounts of it. I even entered eating contests and won several of them, prided myself on that. I drank to excess, and if I didn't black out, then it wasn't a night out for me. So I drank to excess over and over and over and over again. I smoked for a very long period of time, and as it says up here, I smoked for 18 years. I was a heavy drinker for 24 years, because I started both of those things 7th and 8th grade. Crazy when I look back at that and I see 7th grade kids and my nieces and nephews right now, to think about how much I was drinking and smoking at that age. But all of those things came to a head right before I graduated from college, when that picture on the left was taken back in 1999. So at that point I was 26 years old. I was about to graduate from chiropractic college, and I got incredibly sick. Like, sick to the point where I couldn't go to the hospital because I couldn't get out of my bed. It was an awful experience. I'll spare the details, but what did happen through that is I knew that I needed to make some change, and I knew that I needed to make some drastic changes in my life. And right away, as soon as I regained some of my health, that included eating better. Certainly not great, but I started eating better. I started incorporating fruits and vegetables again, some of the things that my parents had taught me. I started exercising on a pretty consistent basis. But that was about it. I started doing those things. I actually lost about 50, 60 pounds while I was lying in bed, so I didn't have a whole lot of weight to lose anymore. But I looked more fit, I looked more healthy, I was doing healthy things. I continued to smoke and drink for several years, and I think it was the age of, right at 35 is when I decided I was done smoking. It was just something, I just made that decision. I said, this is my last cigarette, I'm never going to do this again, never have touched it again, had no desires since that day. I continued to drink heavily for about another 3-4 years. 3 years of that, I was dating now my wife, Sarah. And for 3-4 years, we were a mess. That would be a massive understatement for anybody that knows us. She continued to be a smoker. When I met her, she was a smoker, heavy drinker, bartending. And so we met each other, and because we were both drinkers, just a disaster. We ended up breaking up, I think ending our relationship 4 times over a 4-year period of time. And then I really truly believe God worked a miracle in our life, because somehow He took that mess. He brought us to Valley Brook Church. Pastor Travis, new pastor at Valley Brook Church here today. He brought us to Valley Brook Church, and God intervened in amazing ways, and all of a sudden He took something that was a disaster and made it magical. And now I like to believe that we have formed a great team, and we do a lot of the things that I'm going to talk to you about today and give you some action steps. So everything I'm going to talk about is based on personal experience, or it's things that have worked for me. And working with athletes over the last 8 years that I've been honored to and blessed to be able to do, a lot of times we talk about MVPs, right? So today we're going to focus on WVPs. This is right on your note sheet, so you don't need to write it down. But we're going to focus on a WVP, the W being why. So the why is really, it's every part of your life. It's why you're here today. If you didn't know it, there's a reason you're here today. There's a reason you felt called to come here today. But it's what drives you with every action every single day of your life. There are little whys. A little why I like to refer to as, if we're talking about health, lifestyle changes. A little why would be when you hear somebody say, I want to drop 20 to 30 pounds because my son or my daughter is getting married in a couple of months. Or hopefully for some of you, I'm going to Mexico or Texas in March and I'm going to be on the beach, so I want to drop 20, 30 pounds, get in better shape. So there's nothing wrong with those things. Those are motivational. They're short term. That's what motivation is. Again, motivation comes and goes. Inspiration lasts forever. A big why, on the other hand, is that inspiration. So that's what inspiration is. The big why is that driving force behind why you do what you do every single day of your life. And we're going to take some time here. I'm going to play a little music where I give you a chance to think about, put some serious thought into that just for a few minutes. Get some content down for what is that big why. It's probably something that you guys have never thought about. I'll give you an example. For me, Nathan already said this during my introduction, that a big why for me is to lead by example. That's the shortened version. Now the lengthier version is that I choose my actions every day to lead by example for my friends and family so that they choose healthier lifestyle. It goes on and on. So it's very meaningful for me, but I can shorten that and I can go back to that at any point and just think, lead by example. That's my big why. It drives me with everything, every lifestyle choice that I make in my life. So we're going to play some music here, give you about 4 minutes. Think about what that big why is. What I will tell you, they said in the video, is do it for others, not for money or stuff. So if your big why is all about you, and it's all about stuff and accomplishments, it's really the research shows it's not going to last. It's not going to inspire you. It might motivate you short term, but it's not going to be that lasting change. If you make a big why about others, I want to get healthy to play with my grandchildren. I want to lead a better life and show a Christian example to my grandkids, to my kids, to my nieces and nephews, to my siblings, my friends. Those are the things that are going to drive you for life. So we're going to play a quick video as long as I can get to that. Actually, not play a quick video, sorry. Music. And we're going to take about 3-4 minutes just to put some serious thought into that. Write your thoughts down. You can develop it later. All right, looks like most people are done writing. So, anybody recognize that music, first of all? Anyone? So that was 513 Free. They're a local Christian band, but they honestly are one of, if not my favorite Christian band out there. Like, these guys are absolutely amazing. If you've ever been to church at the fair, they play at church at the fair every year. And they're also playing at One Fest, which is a Christian music fest that myself and a team of other people, I'm on the board for that, we're bringing to the Chippewa Valley in 2018. So this is my quick little plug before we get back into the action steps. One Fest is going to be phenomenal. We're bringing in 3 national acts for that. Can't announce who any of those are because none of them have accepted the contracts yet, but we should know literally by tomorrow who those bands are and who those singers are. But Red, where are you, Red? Red's here somewhere. Red, when I finish up today, is going to be over at the table here, and he's got some info. He's also part of that One Fest team, so anybody that's interested in that in any way, Red can give you literature and answer any questions on that. Strongly encourage you, there's going to be so much more than music there. It's going to be family-friendly, just a great event, so I strongly encourage all of you to check that out and support that. Okay, so hopefully you got a good idea, at least a start of what your why is, what that driving force is going to be for you. Now, the V for the WVP is vision. The Bible says that without vision, people perish. That's a pretty strong statement. So that means that vision must be pretty important. And it is pretty important. It's incredibly important that we have a vision for what does our life look like. So we're leading an intentional life and we're making choices based on what those visions look like, based on our big why. So I encourage the vision to be more than just up here. I think it should be a physical thing. I'm a huge believer in vision boards. And if you're not familiar with a vision board, it can be anything that you want it to be. A lot of times in this new digital tech world, people's vision boards are their desktops on their computer, their screens on their phone. I like the real deal, the original. My wife and my family and I have a 3-foot by 4-foot cork board at home on the wall, something that we see every single day. And that vision board is filled with pictures of things that we want to accomplish, places that we want to go, our favorite scriptures, our favorite quotes. It can be anything that motivates you, anything that inspires you. But I promise, if that's your only takeaway for today, if you do a vision board, like take action on that, put it in your calendar so it actually happens instead of, like I used to do, is just make tons of lists and never do any of them. But actually put it in your calendar, make time to do it, and if you do it and you're looking at that every single day, even if it's for 2 minutes, which a lot of times it is for me as I pass it, it's a reminder of why I'm doing all of the things I'm doing. It absolutely motivates me. It inspires me every single day. So can't encourage that enough. Part of that vision board can be this. How many of you have heard of the one-word concept? So one-word concept is this. The majority of people, about 11 days ago now, make a ton of promises to themselves called resolutions. And the research shows that the majority of those resolutions by January 11th are probably, you've already given up on them. So you're going to exercise more, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to eat healthier, starting a new diet, And most people, if you haven't given up on them by now, you do by January, you do by February. So that's just historically, for Americans, that's what happens. Now, one of the reasons that I believe, and a lot of the research shows, that resolutions fail is because they're very myopic. So they're just a one singular thing. I want to work out more. And that's it. Whereas the one-word concept, which was developed by a couple of the leaders of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA, they wrote a small book, so it's just called One Word. A great one to check out. It takes about an hour to read it. But one word is coming up with a word, putting thought into praying for that one word in your life that's going to have a huge impact for your year. So I've been doing this now for about 5 years. Nathan has as well. My word for 2018 is act. I said that I make a lot of lists. I used to do a lot more of it. I still do. I'm a big thinker, list maker, and I don't act enough. So this year I want to act. And what that one word does is it can apply to every single area of your life. So it applies to me acting and being a better dad, being a better husband, doing the lifestyle things that I need to do, getting up and going to the gym in the morning when I don't want to. I think there's this belief for people that don't work out that the people that do work out are blessed with somehow loving workouts. I hear this all the time. I can't tell you, it's nothing could be further from the truth. I don't know that I've ever woke up in my life at 5 a.m. and said, hey, I get to go work out. I'm so excited to go to the gym this morning. It just doesn't happen. Even Jack LaLanne, who a lot of you probably know who he is, always talked about he never enjoyed a workout. What he enjoyed was the after effects, how he felt after the workout, the impact that he knew it had on his life. So don't judge exercise based on how you feel in the morning and whether you want to or not. This is just one of those things you have to act on, you just have to do. And it doesn't have to be doing where's Keith? It doesn't have to be doing an Ironman triathlon, which is one of the most amazing feats I have ever heard, just incredible. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be running a 5K even. It just means getting out there and moving, getting off the couch, getting up, turning the TV off, and acting and moving. Whether that's with your wife, yourself, your kids, set an example for those younger than you and start doing that. So the power of one word, it applies to any area of your life. So strongly encourage all of you to write that down, write down one word just as a trigger to start thinking about what is that word for you, start praying about it as well. If you've done any research on success, and this applies to any area of success, not money, not business necessarily, although it does, but any area of success in life, it comes down to two things. Your attitude or your mindset, and then the second is iron sharpens iron, the people that you surround yourself with. Surrounding yourself with amazing men like this group here. So the people that you surround yourself with determine your success in any area of life. So for me, who do you think I was surrounding myself with in that picture taken back in 1999? Nothing but party people, people that love to drink and smoke. Who do you think I surround myself with now? People like Nathan, my good friend, my prayer warrior. People like Pastor Travis and Bill Moline and a lot of the other faces that I see in this room. Those are the people that I surround myself with now, the people that lift me up and make me a better person every single day. If you don't have that group of people in your life, find them. Start talking to the people here, start meeting them, surround yourself with good, strong men that can lift you up through all of those life struggles. And the best definition of success I have ever seen, there's thousands of them out there, everybody has their own definition. I strongly believe this one should be in the dictionary. Success, simple habits performed daily over time. Whether we're talking about marriage and doing those little things that you did when you're dating, which is giving your wife a hug, giving your wife a kiss before you leave her side, holding her hand at church, praying with her at meals before you go to bed at night, whether it is exercise. You don't have to enter into some crazy exercise routine, simple habits every day, and those habits performed daily over time will result in success in any area of life, guaranteed. So don't always think you have to go crazy with New Year's resolutions and all of the promises that you make. change your diet overnight. If you're ready to do that, awesome, go for it. But if you're not ready to do that, then just start making simple changes that are not only going to affect your life, but they're also, again, what this is all about is being a leader for your family, a leader for your friends, a leader for your community. And if you start making those simple changes, there's no question it will have a trickle-down effect for everyone around you. The P is plan. Everything that we talked about, the why, the vision, the ideas you might have in your head right now, it all falls apart if you don't have a plan. If you're a list maker like I am, like I really, really used to be, then nothing gets accomplished. It just always stays up here, which is better than not having it all, but it stays up in your head and you don't execute any of that. So a plan is making sure that you're following through on these things. So that's why you want to set time in your calendar. If you don't have a calendar, a physical one, paper or a notebook, something that you carry with you, I encourage you to do that. If you don't already have a Google Calendar or Yahoo Calendar or something on a phone, have a calendar. If you say, you know what, I want to start working out more, well, don't just leave that as I want to start working out more and put it on paper. Put it in your calendar. What are you going to do about that? Do you need to go buy shoes? Do you need to go buy gym shorts? Do you need to go to a gym and actually get a membership? What are you going to do to act on that? Are you going to plan a date night where you go grocery shopping for healthier things with your wife? Make sure it goes in the calendar. Actually make a plan. Part of the video also that I love, judge a tree by the fruit it bears. That's a Bible verse. Not the fruit it talks about or wants. I don't think that's in the Bible verse. That was added. But don't just talk about it. Don't just want it. Actually act and make it happen. And that is part of the plan. So some nuts and bolts stuff. Feed your mind. And turn off the TV. I can't encourage this enough. That was the biggest change for my wife and I 7 years ago or so, now 6 years ago, is we realized that TV was consuming us. We unplugged it. We decided to go without for 30 days. And that 30 days turned into about 4 years until we had children, and then we realized we mentally needed something, especially movies at times for the kids. So now we have Netflix, and we use Netflix for two things, Netflix and Amazon Prime. We use it for two things. We watch a lot of documentaries that interest us, especially health documentaries for us, and then we watch a ton of Christian movies. Just watched The Case for Christ the other day. If anybody has not seen that, man, I can't encourage that enough. I thought that was the most well-done Christian movie that I've ever seen. So start turning off the TV for the unimportant stuff, the news that has no impact on you besides stressing you out and you can't do anything about it. Most people are starting and ending their day and then they wonder why they feel so negative and depressed all day long. It doesn't get more depressing than news. So start feeding your mind with good things. Turn off the bad TV. Get up, start moving. When the TV's on, watch good stuff. Turn on Christian music if you're not already doing this and you're a Christian. WWIB, fantastic local radio station. I see somebody nodding their head there. So WWIB, absolutely love their station. When I'm not able to have access to that on my phone, I put together my Amazon Prime playlist. I quit listening to the mainstream music just because it wasn't feeding my mind with what I wanted it to be fed with. And then number 3 is audio and reading books. If you're not an audio book listener, I would suggest you become one. Don't have to be, but the reason that I suggest that is because any idle time that I have, I'm feeding my mind with audiobooks. And that means Zig Ziglar, if any of you have heard of Zig Ziglar, he's one of the most famous motivational speakers ever. He always made the joke that his car does not start without 2 things, gasoline, and for him at that time it was a cassette tape in there feeding his mind. And so I do the same thing now with my audiobooks on my phone. In my car, that's what I listen to the large majority of the time. If I'm not listening to Christian music, I'm feeding my mind with that. If I'm on an airplane, I've got my headphones on, feeding my mind with an audiobook that is improving my life. It's adding value to my life. When I'm mowing the lawn, any of those things, I look for opportunities to do that. So my favorite books are up here. I'll read them quickly for those of you that can't see those. I shouldn't say my favorite. It was so hard as I was going through my list to narrow it down, but I think these are really great ones to start with. It's Everybody Matters, but it's really Everybody Matters. It's written by a pastor out of Texas, Gary Thomas. Phenomenal book that Pastor Travis turned me on to recently. Absolutely love that book. More of Less. Nathan turned me on to this book, and his wife Jenny. More of Less is written by another pastor, Josh Becker, and what it's about is getting rid of all the junk and clutter literally in your life. So he's got a phenomenal story about how he's cleaning out his garage instead of playing with his kids, and one of his neighbors said something that just was so impactful for him. So they started looking at, okay, why do we have all of this stuff? Our garage is full, our basement is full, our house is cluttered. So it's a common sense way to minimalizing the things that you have in life and not having so many of those wants. Great book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, one of the most famous books of all time by Stephen Covey. I've listened to that probably 20 times. Richest Man in Babylon. What is the number one stressor in a marriage and the number one reason for divorce? Financial. So it doesn't get much more important than that. Financial Peace by Dave Ramsey is awesome. This is one of my favorite books, and the reason that I love it is because most people are looking for all of these crazy things and they're not doing the basics, like saving 10%. And we can all save 10%. I don't care how much money you're making, you can do it. And this book talks about biblical principles. The Richest Man in Babylon, just a phenomenal book. George S. Clayson. And then Greater by Stephen Furtick, one of my best Christian books that there is out there, and the Bible. So I have my Bible with me, because for those of you that don't get Bible time, I would encourage that. And if you do, this book, it's the Bible, but this Bible is what's the word I'm looking for? You can write things in it. A what?
Journaling?
Journaling Bible. Thank you. So it's a journaling Bible. So I've read the Bible many times. I never wrote down my thoughts, even though I have all these different thoughts and things that come to me while I'm doing that. The journaling Bible has allowed me to do that. So absolutely love that Bible. Feed your body. So nutrition is what people think of mostly when we're talking about feed your body, and incredibly important. Literally, the food that you put in your body becomes your eyeballs. Has anybody ever thought about that before? So if your cells are rebuilding every single day, and what do you think is the building block for cells? It's nutrition. So if you're eating the 2 loaves of white bread for $1 that's on the Quick Trip billboard right outside my office window that I see every day, if you're eating the white bread and you're filling it with processed lunch meats and candy and chips and soda, what do you think happens to your body? There's no way it can continue to stay healthy. I love using this analogy because I heard somebody use it a long time ago, and it just makes sense. So I want honest raise of hands, like I want everybody to raise their hands that actually has a pet. Okay, so if you went home right now and you had a grandchild, a young child that was in your house, you walked in the door and you saw that child pouring a can of Coke in one side of your dog dish or your cat dish and dumping some Skittles and Doritos in the other side of the dish, what would you say? Would you say, hey, good job, the dog needed a treat, that's awesome, that's going to be good for the dog's going to feel so much better? Or would you say, oh my gosh, you can't feed that to the dog or the cat because it's going to kill them, it's going to make them sick. And yet, somehow, we think that all of these foods are supposed to be daily things. Now, I'm not saying don't ever eat those. What I am saying is don't make them a daily treat. Don't make them a daily habit. They should be a once-in-a-great-while type of thing. And if instead you're eating more fruits and vegetables, you're eating the food that we're supposed to be eating, which I call God food, and eating less of that man-made processed food. We're not going to get into details with that today, but if you, just use your common sense. Eat more of the good stuff, eat less of the bad stuff, and that's about as simple as nutrition gets. We can get really detailed, but we're not going to do that today. If you want to be more detailed, but also common sense, I put together what I call a food guideline, and it's the basics, simple stuff, one-page document. You can text 773-770-4377, and I didn't change this. Do not put in the word food because it won't work. Put in the word leader. I promise you are getting nothing. You're not signed up to an email list. You will get one email from me with that document, nothing else ever. So there's no catch to that. But if you want that food guideline for you and your family, definitely text that number. For those of you that are interested in diving more into lifestyle changes, we do have a big event coming up that we do every January called This Is My Year. So this is my year, 2018, and you can email my wife. We've only got 10 spots left, so I would have to take the first 10 people that do that, and I apologize to those that can't get in if you do want to. Exercise and movement. We already talked a lot about this, but walking and bike riding with the family, that's not only exercise and movement for you, but it's setting that example for your kids. How are you choosing to spend your time with your grandkids? Are you doing it on the couch while eating chips and drinking a soda and setting a terrible example for them? Or the majority of the time, are you going for walks, going sledding, going bike riding, doing an activity that's going to lead them into a healthier lifestyle? Joining a group workout gym, I think any gyms are great. I think working out at home is great if you can stick with it. But having accountability partners, having a group, no question you're going to stick with it better. For anybody that is interested, I talked to my gym, and what they did is for their group workouts, they said, normally there's commitments and all kinds of stuff. They would offer a 60-day membership for $150, unlimited group membership or group workouts. It's normally $190, I think, for 2 months. But if you're any interest in that, jeremy@fidelite.com, and it's down at the Ignite Gym downtown Eau Claire. Just love those workouts. They're nothing crazy. Anybody can do them. So what it comes down to is this. Not making excuses if you've been doing that. I know we all do that. I made a ton of excuses before in my life. Not making excuses, one of the favorite quotes that I've ever heard and I have on my vision board is, you are not a failure until you blame something or someone else. So that just means take responsibility for your life no matter what your situation. Look at how are you responsible for the situation that you're in right now, and accept responsibility and then start acting and making change based on that. And living intentionally is what that's all about. Not just going through the motions, not following the standard American diet, not doing what everybody else is doing, because what everybody else is doing is leading to a nation and an epidemic of sickness. And if I had a show of hands right now, I would bet nobody in this room is choosing cancer and heart disease and sickness for their family. Yet at the same time, we're all choosing that every single day with our actions. So start making changes, be that example. I'm going to play the video one last time, and this time, you can certainly watch the video if you want, or close your eyes. Either way, focus on every single word that they say in the video and find what inspires you.
Do you want to live a life of productivity? Do you want to live a life of contribution? Are there dreams you want? Everybody will say yes. But see, want shows up in conversation. Expectation shows up in behavior. See, I can tell what you expect by what you do. That's why the Bible says, judges a tree by the fruit it bears. Not the fruit that it wants. Not the fruit that it talks about. Not the fruit that it claims. But by what you are doing. See, what you do when you leave here, when the music stops, when the shouting dies down, your behavior, how you conduct yourself, writing your goals down. You must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
When something happens in your life, if all you're doing it for is a car and a house, that can stop you. But if you're doing it for your mom, for your siblings, for your family, for your community, nothing can stop you. You cannot be broken. When you have an intrinsic goal, when you're doing it because you value it, when you're doing it because it represents who you are, when it's internal, nothing can stop you. No mountain, no trial, no tribulation, passion. Nothing can stop you when it's deeper than just money and stuff.
Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten confident? Are you procrastinating? Are you invading your own greatness? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you challenging yourself? Are you experimenting? Are you learning something different? Is your life an adventure or is it boring?
If you think it's going to be easy, if you think you're just going to get that business started without any trials or tribulations, forget about it. Don't even try to be successful. It's a wrap. It's not going to be easy. But I want you to feel that pain going through your body. And as pain leaves your body, guess what's going to take its place? Success. All roads to success, you got to go through pain. When you travel down success, you got to go through the road of pain, baby. I told you before, if it was easy, everybody would do it. No pain, no gain. I can't get through this difficulty right now, through this pain. I can't. You come along at the bottom, and it's time for you to get your butt from down there. It's time for you to stop being comfortable at the bottom. Get your butt up and get your where you're supposed to be. The Bible said he was in a pig pit, and he came to himself, and he went home. Get your butt up. You are royal priesthood. Get where you belong. Do what you're supposed to do. Live like you're supposed to live. I guarantee you, if you can outlast pain, if you can get through that pain, if you can get through that discomfort, all right? If you can outlast that discomfort, on the other side of it is success.
So I just want to thank Keith for asking me to be here today. I want to thank all of you for coming despite the roads and the weather. I can't tell you what a blessing, what an honor it is to be speaking in front of this group when I've been sitting at the back tables in the past. I absolutely love everything about this group. Can't encourage you enough to keep coming and start bringing your friends. And my prayer for everybody today is that you at least left here with one action step, no matter what that is. If it's as simple as the big why, as simple as a vision board, one action step that's going to have an impact on the rest of your life. Thank you all.